Hare Krishna, welcome to this episode of Bhagavad Gita. Today we will be studying chapter 10, verse 30 of Bhagavad Gita. We will say our Mangalacharan prayers and then we'll proceed on. The subject matter is time, the relentless pursuer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य-देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। भगवद गीता 10:30। प्रह्लादश्चास्मि दैत्यानां कालः कलयतामहम् मृगाणां च मृगेन्द्रोऽहं वैनतेयश्च पक्षिणाम्। प्रह्लादः प्रह्लाद च also asmi I am daityanam of the demons, kalah time, kalayatam of subduers, aham I am mriganam of animals, cha and mriga indraha or mrigendraha the lion, aham I am vainateyah garuda, cha also pakshinam of birds. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: among the Daitya demons, I am the devoted Prahlad. Among subduers, I am time. Among beasts, I am the lion. And among birds, I am Garuda. Purport: Diti and Aditi are two sisters. The sons of Aditi are called Adityas and the sons of Diti are called Daityas. All the Adityas are devotees of the Lord and all the Daityas are atheistic. Although Prahlad was born in the family of the Daityas, he was a great devotee from his childhood. Because of his devotional service and godly nature, he is considered to be a representative of Krishna. There are many subduing principles, but time wears down all things in the material universe and so represents Krishna. Of the many animals, the lion is the most powerful and ferocious, and of the million varieties of birds, Garuda, the bearer of Lord Vishnu, is the greatest. Krishna. So that's the purport of this verse. Now, of course, in this chapter, Krishna is listing all his different uh, great powers that he's exhibiting, and he's teaching us how to think of Krishna when we see great things in this world. So, Prahladas Chasmi Daityanam. So, he has his representations or representatives, or he himself is there in all sorts of species of life. In fact, in some purports of Prabhupada, it is mentioned that the Lord incarnates in all species of life. Now, apart from human species, which in which Parshuram, Ram, Krishna, Buddha, Kalki, all these avatars are there, Vyasadev. But there are other species in which he has taken avatar, like for example Matsya, fish, Kurma, tortoise, Varaha, boar, um, half man, half lion, Narahari, Narasimha. So that is also there are some species like this, Kinnara, Kimpurusha, where half man, half animals. So you can say these are few other species, and then there is Hamsavatar, then there is Hayagriva Avatar, horse-headed incarnation. Sometimes it is even said it is horse incarnation. So in this way, the Lord, these are few which are known to us. Now, how many there are which are unknown to us, right? So not only does the Lord incarnate in all these species, but also his devotees. For example, Tulsi Maharani incarnated as tree in this material world. In that way, we can see. Of course, we don't have many other details. Of course, there is Gajendra as elephant and Garuda as a bird. These are some examples. Gajendra is a different thing. He was cursed. But Garuda, being a bird, that is an avatar, a devotee of Vishnu. So in this way, um, and many which are unknown to us, they appear in many, all the avatar, all the species of life. So how they exist, we do not know. Not much detail on that is given, but we have at least a few examples, right? So here, among the Daityas, his devotee, Vishnu's devotee, came. Prahlad is one of them. Bali Maharaj is one of them. Vritrasura is one of them, who also came in the Daityas, but a great devotee. So therefore, and among all of them, Prahlad is considered the chief, topmost. In fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to read about his pastimes hundreds of times. It is said in the Chaitanya Bhagavat that hundreds of times he used to read the pastimes of Prahlad and Dhruva Maharaj. Then next is Kalaha Kalayatam Aham. So this is the main thing that I want to speak on today. So I will just keep that for the last. Mriganam cha Mrigendroham. Among the Mrigas, among the animals, Mrigendra. Mrigendra is lion. Mriganam cha Mrigendroham. So the lion, we can see, very regal in its appearance and extraordinary courage, extraordinary strength, agility, ferociousness. So these are very special qualifications, and it's a very beautiful animal. At the same time, one of the most ferocious animals. In fact, the most ferocious animal in the jungle, called the king of the jungle. So, lion, it's a representation of Krishna, because nobody can be empowered without, nobody can have any power without being empowered by Krishna. So, the lion is also empowered in these different qualifications, which makes it the king of the jungle. Vainateyascha Pakshinam. Garuda is the king of all birds. Uh, he serves the Supreme Lord himself. So, in this way, they are situated. Now, Kalaha Kalayatam Aham. Kalayatam means of subduers. Now, this is very nice word, because in this world, one may be very strong, one may be anything, but time invariably will destroy it. What is that? Kalakshayakrit pravriddha. Just a moment. Kalosmi lokakshayakrit. Yes. (1132) Shri Bhagavan Vacham. कालोऽस्मि लोकक्षयकृत् प्रवृद्धो लोकान् समाहर्तुमिह प्रवृत्तः ऋतेऽपि त्वां न भविष्यन्ति सर्वे येव स्थिताः प्रत्यनीकेषु योधाः. Time I am, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people, with the exception of you, the Pandavas, and all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. So, Kalosmi lokakshaya krit pravriddho lokan samahartum iha pravrittaha. So, you see, the great destroyer of the worlds. People say time is a great healer. But actually, time is the great destroyer. And with time, everything becomes destroyed in this world. Of course, we know our body gets destroyed, the whole universe gets destroyed, but there are other things which also get destroyed. For example, एवं परंपरा प्राप्तम इमं राजर्षयो विदुः स कालेनेह महता योगो नष्टः परन्तप. You see, kalena iha mahata yogo nashtaha parantapa. So this is also nashta means destruction. What is destroyed? The supreme science of Krishna consciousness was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. Yogo nashtaha, scattered or lost. What is lost? Yoga, the science of one's relationship with the Supreme. So, in Parampara system, this science is coming down, but even then, it is lost. And due to the course of time, things become lost. This is explained in this verse. See this 428:48. This is a very important verse. We'll read the purport. Whenever an Acharya comes following the superior orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his representative, he establishes the principles of religion as enunciated in the Bhagavad Gita. Religion means abiding by the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Religious principles begin from the time one surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is the Acharya's duty to spread a bona fide religious system and induce everyone to bow down before the Supreme Lord. One executes the religious principles by rendering devotional service, specifically the 9 items like hearing, chanting, and remembering. Unfortunately, when the Acharya disappears, rogues and non-devotees take advantage and immediately begin to introduce unauthorized principles in the name of so-called swamis, yogis, philanthropists, welfare workers, and so on. Actually, human life is meant for executing the orders of the Supreme Lord, and this is stated in Bhagavad Gita 9:34. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktvaivam atmanam matparayanah. Engage your mind always in thinking of me and become my devotee. Offer obeisances and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. The main business of human society is to think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead at all times, to become his devotees, to worship the Supreme Lord, and to bow down before him. The Acharya, the authorized representative of the Supreme Lord, establishes these principles, but when he disappears, things once again become disordered. The perfect disciples of the Acharya try to relieve the situation by sincerely following the instructions of the spiritual master. Now, so this is the thing, this gets destroyed. So when an Acharya comes, how the parampara gets, the science gets destroyed, it's like this. Because the Acharya comes, he re-establishes the principles of religion, and when he leaves, there will be a destruction. So the course of time. So what exactly is this course of time? How come the time can destroy um, pure teachings of Krishna consciousness? Well, actually, they do not destroy the system of bhakti. They don't. What does get destroyed is its knowledge among human society, or people when they associate with the mode of ignorance. Because that's where everything gravitates in this material world, everything gravitates towards ignorance. That's why it's easy to break principles, but it's very hard to keep principles. Because that's the natural course in this material world. Everything goes downward, like gravity, everything pulls down to the earth. So similarly, everything is pulled down to the mode of ignorance, tamoguna. So which is why it takes effort to keep something intact. For example, you see, to construct a big building takes a lot of effort. To maintain it also takes a lot of effort. But to destroy it does not take much effort. In a moment, you can destroy the entire building. So that's how they detonate and then completely raise the building to the ground. So in that way, we can understand that everything gravitates towards ignorance, and therefore we need to be cautious and keep ourselves in the mode of goodness, in fact above goodness, by following the orders of the spiritual master. So as long as we keep to the order of the spiritual master, the principle of decay means uh, the nature of becoming spoiled, tendency to become spoiled. So the decay does not happen. And this is confirmed by Sandipani Muni. When he said to Krishna and Sudama, Tushtoham bodvijasreshthah satyah santu manorathah chandam syayatayamani bhavantiha paratracha. Tushtoham means I am satisfied. Sandipani Muni was the guru of Krishna and Sudama. So Guru, was satisfied by Krishna, his disciple, and Sudama, who was also his disciple. So the spiritual master is satisfied with his disciple, and therefore, Satyaha Santu Manoratha. What is that? May your desires be always fulfilled. But of course, what kind of desires does a proper disciple desire? What kind of desires does he have? He has the desire to execute the order of his spiritual master. Jai Prasade Pure Sarva Asha. Every morning we sing. So by his grace, one can have all one's desires can be fulfilled. What does that mean? we take to Krishna consciousness, we surrender to the Guru, and then we have so many desires, material desires in our heart that that need to be fulfilled, and then by the mercy of Guru they can get fulfilled. Is that what it means? No. The Guru is not there to satisfy our material desires or fulfill our material desires and bless us um, for some material gains. No, that's not the Guru's business. So what is this Pure Sarva Asha? Sarva Asha. What is the Sarva Asha? Because we are trained to become Anyabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karma Dhyanavritam. So every other desire than to serve Krishna should be zero. Every other desire. But for serving Krishna, we can have unlimited desires. In fact, Prabhupada always told his disciples that dream big for Krishna. Dream big for Krishna. Don't dream small for Krishna. Have big, big dreams for Krishna. That we should have a grand temple, we should have a grand movement, we should have thousands and millions of devotees. We should basically take over the world and offer it to Prabhupada and Krishna and rule the whole world according to the principles of Bhagavad Gita, so that the whole world will be peaceful, and actually train devotees properly so that they actually become 100% Krishna conscious. So this should be the desires of the devotee. So in this endeavor, the devotee will have so many desires, so many plans. So in the service of Krishna, that is not arambha. Such arambha means start. In the 12th chapter, Krishna describes the devotee as sarvarambha parityagi. That means he gives up all kinds of plans. Arambha means start. So he does not start anything actually. Krishna starts. Dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami. So he has an artha, he has a plan, he has a purpose. What is that? Dharma samsthapana. And that too for our benefit. So we have to take that arambha, that plan of Krishna, that desire, purpose of Krishna, and fulfill it. And in fulfilling it, we can have many, many secondary plans to fulfill that primary plan of Krishna, primary desire of Krishna. We can have millions of desires. How to fulfill this and that desire of Krishna. We can have so many plans. So in that way, तुष्टोहम भो द्विजश्रेष्ठा सत्याः सन्तु मनोरथाः छन्दांसि आयातयामानि, never growing old. Ayatayamani. Krishna is called Navayoganam. He is ever youthful. And even his pastimes are called Nitya Nutanaha. Nitya Nutanaha means, again, Nutan means new, ever new. They're always new, they're never old, they're never stale. What does not becoming old means? That means there is no influence of time. Kalosmi lokakshayakrit. Lokakshayakrit. Time destroys everything in its path. Nothing can survive the onslaught of time. But Krishna is Navayoganam. He does not become old. Old means what? Basically, time is wearing the body off. So, but Krishna does not become old means time has no entrance in his existence. Even his pastimes, Nitya Nutanaha. See, these are explained. अद्वैतमच्युतमनादिमनन्तरूपम् आद्यं पुराणपुरुषं नवयौवनं च वेदेषु दुर्लभमदुर्लभमात्मभक्तौ गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. You see, Navayoganam. This Navayoganam means he never grows old. Yauvanam means youthful. Always youthful, Navayovanam, new youth, just entered his youthful age. So he's always like that, Krishna. And topics about him also are like that. Yes. Brahman Krishna katha punya madhvir lokamalapaha ko nu tripyeta shranvana shrutagno nityanutana shrutagno nityanutana ko nu tripyeta shranvana. What experienced listener, O Brahmana, could ever grow satiated while listening to the pious, charming, and ever fresh topics of Lord Krishna, which cleanse away the world's contamination? What is this ever fresh topics? Nityanutana means what? For example, Bhagavad Gita, let's take. He has spoken this 5,000 years ago. But today it's as relevant as it was then. It will always be relevant. There is no need of an update to Bhagavad Gita or, some, what is that? Revision, addition. No. Bhagavad Gita is Bhagavad Gita. All the time, since time immemorial, it has been relevant, and it is relevant. It will never be stale. It will always be relevant. Nitya Nutana, ever fresh topics. Similarly, anything about Krishna also is ever fresh. See, Narasimhadev came millions and millions of years in the past. But today, we are still singing the glories of Narasimhadev, Prahlad Maharaj, and praying to Narasimhadev for protection. Nitya Nutana. These pastimes they thrill the devotee even now. How great was the prowess of Lord Narasimhadev. In fact, there is this um, holy place in India, Ahobilam. Ahobilam. Actually, it is coming from the Sanskrit words Ahobalam. Ahobalam means, Aho means oh, exclamation. Balam means strength. Oh, what strength! What power! What valor, vigor, might. Because uncommon strength was shown by Narasimhadev. Right? If you see even a lion, uncommon strength. How the lion can be so strong? So we even see a lion. It is so extraordinarily strong. Just imagine Narasimhadev, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma could not withstand such ferocity of Narasimhadev. So therefore, Ahobalam. So topics of Krishna are ever fresh. Anything you take about Krishna, Krishna's service, Krishna's paraphernalia, ever fresh. See? So in this way, and everything about Krishna and his devotees are also ever fresh. You see, like for example, Prabhupada. He went to America at the age of 69. So Prabhupada always used to say, oh, I'm a grand old man at the fag end of my life. But although he is seemingly at the fag end of his life, usually when a person goes to that age, he becomes more and more dull. His energy wanes and he becomes basically ready to die. But Prabhupada was so active that he was more active than his young disciples who were in their 20s. He was more active than them. So again, Nitya Nutana, Navayovanam, all these words. So everything about Krishna and his devotees, Ayur Harati Vaipumsam, Udyannastan Chayannaso, Tasyarte Yat Kshanoneta, Uttama Shloka Vartaya. So Uttama Shloka Vartaya. When we discuss the topics of Krishna, and Ayur Harati Vaipumsam, Udyannastan Chayannaso, usually the sun takes away the lifetime of everyone by its rising and setting. But those who spend their lives discussing Krishna Katha, they do not, they are not destroyed. Because whatever they are doing, it cannot be destroyed by time. Because the spiritual merit that they are accruing spiritual bank balance that they're accruing by just hearing about Krishna, chanting his name, engaging in his service. So all these things are, even if we do a little bit, they are never lost. They are never lost. नेहा विक्रमनाशोस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पमप्यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायतो महतो भयात् त्रायते महतो भयात्. हाँ. प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते. In this endeavor of Krishna consciousness, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. There is no loss or diminution, and this is also explained in this verse. When we say no loss or diminution, that means the quality of time, which is destruction, does not act. Does not act. Oh. See. त्यक्त्वा स्वधर्मं चरणाम्बुजं हरेर् भजन्न पक्वोऽथ पतेत् ततो यदि यत्र क्व वा भद्रम् अभूदमुष्य किम् को वार्थ आप्तो भजतां स्वधर्मतः. One who has forsaken his material occupations to engage in the devotional service of the Lord may sometimes fall down while in an immature stage. Yet there is no danger of his being unsuccessful. On the other hand, a non-devotee, though fully engaged in occupational duties, does not gain anything. So what is mentioned here? There is no danger of his being unsuccessful. Why? Because whatever he has done is never lost. Let's go to this verse. न वै जनो जातु कथञ्चन व्रजेन् मुकुन्द सेव्यन्यवदङ्ग संस्कृतिम् स्मरन् मुकुन्दाङ्घ्रि उपगूहनं पुनर् विहातुमिच्छेन्नरसग्रहो जनः. My dear Vyasa, even though a devotee of Lord Krishna sometimes falls down somehow or other, he certainly does not undergo material existence like others, fruitive workers, etc. Because a person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can do nothing but remember that ecstasy again and again. So this is what happens, and this is also explained in the 6th chapter, where Arjuna asks this question. It's actually the previous verse. Oh, previous verse. Yes. So Arjuna says here that the mind is very restless and very difficult to control. And yeah, this is where he asks the question. Yes. So if you see in this 637, Arjuna said, "Oh Krishna, what is the destination?" Let's read the Sanskrit. Ayatihi Arjuna uvacha ayatihi shraddhayopeto yogat chalitamanasaha aprapya yoga samsiddhim kamgatim Krishna gacchati. Arjuna said, "O Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism?" What happens to him? So who takes to Krishna consciousness but then somehow or other gives it up, so is it lost for him? So he has spent time away from material life to cultivate spiritual life. So materially he is lagging behind because for so many years he has not done anything in the material sphere of life. He has not saved up any money. He has not gotten experience in his job. So even if he was going to apply for a job, they will ask for experience, and then he does not have anything. So Basically, materially, he has forsaken, so he does not have a good standing in material life. And then spiritually, he has taken wholeheartedly, but then now he has fallen down from it. What will happen? Spiritually, also, he's a loser. Materially, he's a loser. Is it not? Is Arjuna's question. Continues the question. Says, O mighty armed Krishna. I'm reading 638 Bhagavad Gita. O mighty armed Krishna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a riven cloud with no position in any sphere? Etanme samshayam Krishna. This is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. You see, he has doubts and he's asking, and it's very valid doubts, right? Anybody would get these doubts. Oh, I'm going to take to this Krishna consciousness seriously. The people are asking, devotees are asking me to do so, but then I'm not confident if I can actually endure. I may fall down at some point. What will happen then? Well, this is Arjuna's question. So he's asking these very, very pertinent questions for our benefit. Sri Bhagavanuvacha. Partha naiveha namutra vinashastasya vidyate nahi kalyana कृत कश्चित दुर्गतिम तात गच्छति विनाशस तस्य विद्यते न अमुत्र विनाशस तस्य विद्यते. Vinasha means destruction. Namutra. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, son of Pritha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities does not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. Okay. How then? What will happen? So this is where we have to have patience and proper understanding, because we want quick results. Oh, you see, he died. He died a loser. He went to Krishna consciousness and did all this for 15 years, and then he fell down, and then materially he did not have any standing, and the youth of his life, the main part of his life is just gone in Krishna consciousness, and then now he is not even there. And that's when his career would have been built, but that did not happen because of his Krishna consciousness, and then he has left Krishna consciousness and he has left material life, and he's a loser in both spheres. Then Krishna says, no, he's not. One who does good is never overcome by evil. What if the person actually dies? Not well to do, but also not spiritually very elevated. So it does seem like the reality is different from what is being explained in this Bhagavad Gita, right? So here is where we need to understand that it is not over just one lifetime that we can judge this. You see, प्राप्य पुण्यकृतां लोकानुषित्वा शाश्वतीः समाः शुचीनां श्रीमतां गेहे योगभ्रष्टोऽभिजायते. The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. You see here. So the unsuccessful yogi, he will get a good chance next life. Of course, it is not good to leave it to next life. But even if he is a so-called failure in this life, seemingly, he is never a failure. From Krishna's words, we should take this. Whose words, can be more of an assurance than Krishna's? If Krishna is saying like this, they are true. And if I have no faith in this, that doesn't sound very logical. Well, logic in my brain, in my tiny brain, which is basically saying that this one life is everything, and therefore if in this life there is no so-called success in that person's life, then you see it's a loser. He's a loser in both spiritual and material life, is what we may think. First of all, even in this life he will be maintained. Even in this life he will be maintained somehow or other. In fact, if he does not have a very big position, maybe that's good for him also. We always think what is good for us in our estimation, but what is good. See, if he was a devotee and he fell down, and if he has suddenly all wealth, then he may go even opposite direction, right? Sinful way. If he is not controlled. So, if he's not a devotee, he's not going to be controlled. So, Krishna mercifully does not give him very much. He may just um, keep him in a poverty stricken condition. Or sometimes he may actually become rich. What does that mean then? Well, maybe Krishna, two things. Either Krishna is confident that, okay, you know what, this person will donate his wealth to Krishna, to me. I mean, so Krishna may think like that. Or the person is so offensive that suddenly he becomes a material enjoyer and Krishna allows it so that he goes farther away from devotional service because he has committed an offense. So such a thing happened with Shaubhari Muni. When he offended Garuda, then he became, he was a great yogi, meditating underwater. Then he saw some fish copulate, and then he came out, married 50 princesses, and lived with them for many, 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 many years before he started to realize, hey, what am I doing? Why am I wasting my time like this? By the time hundreds of years have passed, hundreds or maybe almost 100, I don't know how many, so many years have passed. How much, So he looks like, it looked like he enjoyed material life to the fullest extent, and he did. That's because actually a devotee usually is not given such a facility. Unless, for example, he is Prahlad or Dhruv Maharaj, he is given a very high position when Krishna knows that he will use it in Krishna's service. Like Prabhupada, he went with $7 worth of money to America, and then eventually 108 temples and books and everything, huge movement, 5,000 disciples, so much success. That is because that is spiritual opulence, completely given by Krishna and for Krishna's service. But for if I am seeking material pleasure from it, then Krishna may actually cut it, may not give me. Or if he knows that I will give to Krishna consciousness movement, then he may give me something. Either case, of course, I should not try for next life or life after that. We should be resolved to finish everything in this one life. Finish and go back to Godhead. It's a Herculean task to completely finish our material life in this one lifetime. But it's possible. If we stick to the order of the spiritual master, it is very much possible. So, the unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. अथवा योगिनामेव कुले भवति धीमताम् एतद्धि दुर्लभतरं लोके जन्म यदीदृशम्. Or, if unsuccessful after long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly, such a birth is rare in this world. तत्र तं बुद्धिसंयोगं लभते पौर्वदेहिकं यतते च ततो भूयः संसिद्धौ कुरु नन्दन. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life. You see, it did not become nashta in his life. And then he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success, so son of Kuru. पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेनैव ह्रियते ह्यवशोऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्माति वर्तते. By virtue of the divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands always above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. Purvabhyasena tenaiva, you see, by the practice in his previous life. Prayatnad yatamanastu yogi samshuddha kilbishah aneka janma samsiddhas tato yati paramgatim. And when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed of all contaminations, then ultimately, achieving perfection after many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. You see, even after he has come to Krishna consciousness, he may take many births of practice. Every morning we are singing Bahu Janma Kare Jadi Shravana Kirtan Tabuta Na Paye Krishna Pade Premadhan. We are chanting this verse. What does that mean? If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many births, he will not get the love of Godhead. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. So, what is that? That means that if he is not serious about Krishna consciousness, if he commits offenses, then it's like, you're trying to cook rice in a pot. The fire is here, the pot is hung up from a tree right at the top. How is the fire going to cook? You're so far away from the fire. So we have to be also close to the Krishna consciousness. Close means what? Attentively do it. And with great reverence we should do it. This, Sannikarshotra Martyanam Anadarana Karanam. When we are near somebody, we become familiar with that person. Similarly, when we are near to the holy name, then we become familiar with the holy name. Oh, I'm chanting every day. It's a daily thing. So I don't take it seriously. So this is anadarana. Adar. Adar. Anadar. Adar means respect, right? Kintvadarad anudinam khalusaiva jushta. This verse. NOI 7. Nectar of Instruction. Upadeshamrita 7. स्यात् कृष्णनामचरितादिसिताप्यविद्या पित्तोपतप्तरसनस्य नरोचिकानो किन्त्वादरादनुदिनं खलु सैव जुष्टा स्वाद्विक्रमाद्भवति तद्गदमूलहन्त्री आदरात् अनुदिनं खलु सैव जुष्टा. Adarat means with respect, with great attention, with great submission. So, what is that? Adarat, carefully. You see, Adarat, carefully. Taking great care. The holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya, ignorance, cannot taste anything sweet, it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. So, what is being described here? The holy name. We have to do with adara. So, this is 1084:31. Sannikarshotra martyanam anadarana karanam ana adara. Adarana means respect. Anadarana means without respect. Karanam. Why do we become disrespectful towards anything that we may associate with on a regular basis? Because we take it for granted. Anadaran karanam. So even when we're chanting, we don't take it seriously if because every day we're doing, we get used to it and then we don't realize what we have, and that's dangerous. So this is the reason why we are chanting every day in the morning the Gurvashtaka during Mangalarati and Guru Puja, Guru Vandana during Guru Puja, and then there is the Shikshashtaka, the 10 offenses. Why we are chanting all these things every morning? So to remind ourselves, to remind. But even if those things we do anadarana way, that means we just chant it, without any meditation on the meaning of those verses that we are chanting. then we are missing the plot. We are missing the point. We are missing the very reason why these have been instituted as part of the daily ritual in the morning. It is to remind us. That's why we are singing these things, these songs, right? So, Kalaha Kalayatamaham. Krishna says, I am time, destroyer of everything, or the subduer of everything. But what we are learning today is that Krishna consciousness, starting with chanting, hearing, that is beyond the influence of this time. So, if we want to conquer the influence of time, then we have to take to Krishna consciousness. That is the only way. Otherwise, time is just um, unrelenting in its persistence. Unrelenting persistence. If we have to learn persistence somewhere, we have to learn it from time. We may make any plan, the time will never fail to destroy it. That is called persistence. No matter what, time will always win. Kalosmi lokakshaya krit pravriddho. So, प्रमत्तमुच्चैरिति कृत्य चिन्तया प्रवृद्धलोभं विषयेषु लालसम् त्वमप्रमत्तः सहसाभिपद्यसे शुल्ले लिहानो हिरिवाकुमन्तकः. Ivakum means, akum means rodent. What is that? Rat. Mouse. Mouse, yeah. Ahihi means snake. Iva akum, antakaha. My dear Lord, all living entities within this material world are mad after planning for things, and they are always busy with the desire to do this or that. So they are very busy, right? Look at time. This is due to uncontrollable greed. They are planning like this. The greed for material enjoyment is always existing in the living entity, but your lordship is always alert. And in due course of time, you strike him, just as a snake seizes a mouse and very easily swallows him. So what is this, you strike him just as a snake seizes a mouse? That means he comes as death. Mrityuh sarvaharascha aham. So Mrityuh sarvaharascha aham. I am the destroyer of everyone. I am death. I have what's that? I will take away everything from you. Sarva haraschaham. Whatever we have achieved, whatever we have earned in this life will definitely be taken away. Unrelenting pursuit. No matter what we do, we cannot hide from time, can we? We can't. Even if we hide in dark room, we'll get old. So nothing can stop. And you see every day in the morning, rush hour. Because time is pushing us to run. And after the whole work is finished in the evening, we're rushing back home. Time is pushing us. The sun is rising and the sun is setting because of time. Yeah. So it makes even the sun move and the planets move. Time is so powerful, so subtle, so fine. An unrelenting power of time. And one day, all our achievements will be put to dust. Kunti Maharani, he prays to Krishna. 1828. मन्ये त्वां कालमीशानम् अनादिनिधनं विभुं समं चरन्तं सर्वत्र भूतानां यन्मिथः कलिः. Okay. You see, my Lord, I consider your Lordship to be eternal time, the supreme controller without beginning and end, the all pervasive one. In distributing your mercy, you are equal to everyone. The dissensions between living beings are due to social intercourse. So, especially the first part, you see, Manyetvam Kalamishanam, I consider you to be eternal time. So, again, the same point, time. And if you see time, actually, I made a whole video on time. Did I not? As part of my Tattvavit show on Instagram Live, IGTV. During COVID, I think I did one episode on time, if I'm not wrong. I don't know if I did it or not. But anyway, you see, Kala is represented by Chakra, Kala Chakra. Why Chakra? Because time has the cyclical effect. So seasons, you see, every year it's a cyclical effect of time. Um, because time influences movement in such a way that there are these cyclical events, and the day and night cyclical. So in this way, in a circular fashion, there is the effect. So therefore, Kala Chakra. But also a wheel, when it is moving on the ground, it goes on a straight line in one direction. Of course, you can reverse your car, but this goes only in one direction. It will never go in the reverse direction. Time. So whatever. So if the wheel is turning on the ground, it makes a line straight, linear. So there is that linear aspect to time as well. So that's why Kala Chakra, um, it encompasses perfectly all aspects of time, because there are smaller cycles, like if you see on a clock, the seconds hand, it will go in one cycle every minute. The minutes hand goes one cycle every 1 hour. The hours hand takes one cycle in every 12 hours. So it has a cyclical effect even in this, you see. That's why clock is represented in a circular fashion, and there is a circular effect. But then there is linear, because time is moving forward and it never goes back. It's not that I am young boy and I'm growing middle-aged man and again young boy. I will go like this cyclical. No, it doesn't happen that way. It happens linear. So in this way, time um, exists, pushing everything to destruction. So if we at all want to transcend the influence of time, jivo va marova, for a devotee, it does not matter whether he lives or dies, because he's always serving Krishna. He's serving Krishna here, and when he dies, then he will continue to serve Krishna, whether in the spiritual world, or if he has not qualified himself to go to the spiritual world, he may take birth somewhere else and still continue. So that is assured. See? So in this way, we can transcend the influence of time through Krishna consciousness, Krishna conscious activities. So let us exchange our limited time in this material world with the unlimited result of the spiritual world. So that's the best use of time, best use of a bad bargain. Prabhupada said, we have asked for this human life, which is a bad bargain. I mean, any life in this material world, even that of the demigod, is actually bad. It's not worth it. Antavattu phalam tesham tad bhavati alpamedasam. And Brahma Bhuvanal Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. So from the topmost to the bottommost planet, all are places of misery. So it's not worth it going anywhere in this material world. But if we take to Krishna consciousness, then we can go directly to the spiritual world and no more coming back. That is the only way to transcend the influence of time. You see, 10:3:27. मर्त्यो मर्त्यो मृत्युव्यालभीतः पलायन् लोकान् सर्वान् निर्भयं नाध्यगच्छत् त्वत्पादाब्जं प्राप्य यदृच्छयाद्य सुस्थः शेते मृत्युरस्मादपैति. No one in this material world has become free from the four principles of birth, death, old age, and disease, even by fleeing to various planets. Elon Musk is trying to go to Mars and colonize Mars, and people are thinking, "Oh, this is like greatest thing that we're ever doing, the most advanced mankind." No, this has already been done so many times before. Here it is said that no one in this material world has become free from the four principles of birth, death, old age, and disease. You see, these miserable conditions will follow us wherever we go in this material world, even to other planets, even by fleeing to various planets. But now that you have appeared, my Lord, death is fleeing in fear of you, and the living entities having obtained shelter at your lotus feet by your mercy, are sleeping in full mental peace. See? In this way, one can overcome the um, influence of time, which is ultimately death. Death will come, this body will die, but one has to use one's limited time in this material world, in the human form of life, uh, to get to a position where one can live unlimitedly. So that's the best exchange, best use of a bad bargain. It's a bad bargain. We asked for this human body due to our past misdeeds, but at least it's a human body, and then we can make it count now by engaging it in Krishna's service. All right, so I will stop it here. Any questions or comments on this topic? Hare Krishna League is asking, my nephew asked if it's possible to go back in time or can the time be moved backwards? No, not at least in the material world. In the spiritual world, well, time has no influence there. There is time, but it has no influence like it has in the material world. So there, maybe, I don't know what is possible there. There's no time basically. There's no time means there is no influence of time at all, because nobody grows old, nobody dies there. Everything is eternal. Everybody is eternally youthful and eternally enjoying. So this is the thing. So this is how it is there. So if he wants to go back in time, why go back in time? You're going to suffer there. Anyway, we suffered in our past. We were in the material world. So why go back? Finish it off and go back to Krishna. Can someone take a rebirth in past? What do you mean? We have all taken birth before, many, many millions and trillions of times. We are still here. So if you want to go into the past, you're going to be in the material world. What is the point of going? Go to the future, go to the spiritual world. That's the whole point. We cannot take like that rebirth in the past, so what to talk. But we took rebirth many, many times. And we're going to continue to take if we don't go back to Godhead. That's for sure. Alright, thank you very much. जय श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरे हरे बोल, हरे कृष्ण.